Today, I'm going to try to use up a pork loin that I had in my freezer. It's thawed out now, and my Wheel of Food suggested I use some cauliflower with it, as well as making it with a pasta carbonara. Carbonara is actually very easy to make, and you almost always have the ingredients you need, so it's a staple pasta. You may not have bacon, but you can keep bacon in the freezer and then cut vertically across it to get little bacon lardons, so that's something you can actually always have. Carbonara is super easy to make. As you can see here, you render some bacon, then you toss it off the heat with a mixture of the pasta and then some water of the pasta cooking water, and then a mixture of egg and parmesan. You toss that in there as well. That's it, and it's delicious. Try this. I'm ready to do my carbonara. I have, instead of bacon, pancetta, which can, beef it up a bit, so I decided to go with that. I'm going to use a linguini today. Here's my egg and parmesan that I'm going to mix together. I'll finish it with black pepper. Water's boiling, so I'm good for the basic recipe. I've made carbonara plenty, but I always make it on its own. I've never made it with anything else, so it's a total experiment for me. My pork is ready to go, and holy cow, is it delicious. The cauliflower, I broke down into 3 parts, the florets, the stem, and the leaves, and I'm going to try to use all of it. The thing about carbonara is it doesn't reheat well because you're basically using a raw egg as the sauce, and that's going to turn into scrambled eggs if you reheat that. So instead, I'm going to use 1 egg and half of my cheese, which is a little over a 1/4 cup. That'll be the sauce today. Tomorrow, I'll simply reheat the cooked pasta and stir again. I've added my pasta to cook for 9 minutes. I'm starting to render my pancetta, but what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to add the cauliflower to the pasta to get it soft so that when I stir it on with the rest of the stuff, it'll be perfectly cooked, all one pot. If you're keeping track, there's the pancetta, there is my pasta, and there is my egg and cheese sauce. Really, all you would do is toss these 3 things together. But I'm going to add the cauliflower stems, get those softened, eventually the meat and the greens. I used to throw away that bottom part of the cauliflower. Then I realized it's just a mother vegetable. So look at this. It looks almost like a celery. Great flavor, and it's absorbing all that bacon flavor. I'm going to finish it with the leaves too. So I'm using up every part of that cauliflower. I'm very excited about that. I don't talk much about salt and pepper when I cook. I use it throughout the meal. Like here, in this stage, I added pepper, and then I tasted it. And the pancetta added a lot of salt, but I added a teeny little bit more just to the greens. Taste every layer, salt and pepper as you go. And now, in goes my incredibly delicious pork, just to get it warmed up, because it's already cooked and it's perfectly moist, so I don't want to dry it out, so I put it in just for about half a minute. Alright, now the cauliflower, I'm going to use a spider to get it into my pan. I have added the pasta and cauliflower, taken this off the heat, and I'm just stirring it all together. You can see I've added also the cauliflower greens. It adds a nice pretty little green color and flavor. So you don't want to add this when it's hot because it'll scramble, so let's cool it down a tiny bit. So I took half of it out and put it in its own bowl. The other half is still here, and it's tons of food still. Now I'm going to add the egg just to this half. This half I'll reheat, then I'll make a new egg sauce for it. That's the way to do it if you're going to split it up. You can see how shiny that is. I'm going to add just a little bit of pasta water, and I'll use the same bowl that the egg was in just to get a little extra egg out. But just a little bit of pasta water to add a little flavor, a little texture, but not too much. And that's pretty much ready to go. Here's my finished plate, and this is why I love my Wheel of Food. I would never have been creative enough to try to upgrade a carbonara with pork and cauliflower, and yet it looks beautiful. It tastes amazing. I picked yellow cauliflower because I had a vision it would look great in this dish, but wow. If you've never made a pasta carbonara, you see now how simple it is if you keep it to the basic recipe. So really, I want you to do that one before you did anything as fancy as all this. But here we have my cauliflower, my pork, my pasta, a perfect bite.